I used to masturbate in the bathroom like a lot of guys, and I found that when I'm using the muscles involved in coming, I can't distinguish them from the muscles I use to poop. It gets worse. I always have to go to the bathroom before sex, and I'm afraid to orgasm for fear of crapping. How do I separate the two? I could be a wise ass and say, if you know you're going to get laid, don't eat for 3 days. but I tend to ejaculate extremely quickly, within the first minute or two. I've heard about training my muscle to hold it back, but that sounds over the top. What is your advice for premature ejaculation? I'll tell you a couple of things. One is, and this is also research that I discovered that is not really very well known. If you look at the bell-shaped curve, like how intelligence distributes, 2/3 of people are in the average range of intelligence, and then smaller breakdowns, less intelligence, higher intelligence. That's how orgasm distributes in men and women. So the average, 66%, and again, you know, an average is a crunch number, there's a little bit of give there, for men, is somewhere between 2 and 3 minutes of active thrusting. Wow. That's the average. On this side, faster, 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 slower, 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 in terms of the breakdowns. There is PC muscles. Those are your pelvic muscles. Pucococcygeus is PC. That's why we call it just PC muscles. If you're taking a leak, male or female, taking a leak, and you stop the flow, that contraction, that's the PC muscle. So what I suggest is, for most young guys, this isn't really an issue, but I suggest it anyway. It's called Kegels, and women who've had a child know about it because that's their obstetrician, to get their pelvic floor back in shape, will give them the Kegels. Kegels, the guy who invented it years ago. And basically it has to do with just strengthening it. So it's contract, release, that same pelvic floor muscle. So once you've done that, maybe for a couple of weeks, and strengthened the pelvic floor muscle, then what I suggest is, once you pick up that premonitory sensation, do a longer. So these were like second release. Do maybe a 5-second. Contract, hold a little bit, release. So let's say orgasm is like, say, 1 out of 5, with 5 being orgasm. And you're at 3.5. And you pick up the sensation. Then you do the pelvic contraction. You'll get down to about 2. You got to be sensitized to pick up the sensation, because there's a point, like if you're looking over a cliff, you lean over a little bit, you're going over. No matter what you do, you're going over. And there's a point in orgasm. Oh, there's an earthquake? Big deal. You're still going to come. So you got to pick it up before. And by the way, with her on top, it's better for her as well, usually, because she can sort of maneuver to get the right. She's in the friction game also. So for her to get the right friction, it gives her some ability to kind of shift a little bit. So in terms of premature ejaculation, that's probably something else, but that's what I could think of at the moment. Although I'm very attracted to the women I sleep with and get hard almost instantly, I have a lot of trouble reaching orgasm, especially in a condom. Even masturbating, it will often take 30 to 45 minutes to get off with my favorite porn. How do I get out of my own way, thinking too much, increase my sensitivity, or let go of my anxiety and reach orgasm? Now, we could look at some issues, but one basic issue might be that naturally he takes longer. He's wired that way. Just like the guy who might be quick, there may be other factors, but there's also maybe a wiring factor. That's how he's wired. So in terms of this, on this end, one of the things I ask him, and there are some people who I meet say, oh, I'm a sex therapist. I ask them this question, they always get it wrong. It tells me they went to a sex workshop, big deal. And that is, I say, a guy comes to you, and he says it takes him a very long time to orgasm. What's one of the first questions you ask? They always get it wrong. one of the first questions to ask is, how do you masturbate? Because, some people will think, oh, just use your hand. No. The guy may be, because it takes him a long time, then he tells you, again, he's another 200-pound guy, he tells you he lies on his stomach and he rocks. Most of us have a talent to take a problem and to make it worse, no matter what it is. It doesn't have to be sex. We are talented that way. In fact, I look at the human race, there's a continuum. It's a little fucked up and a lot fucked up. If you don't think you're on a continuum, you're in denial. That's it. Just read the newspaper one day. Pay attention. Or he's been watching porn since 8 years old. And he's desensitized himself. So his partner is not a porn queen. And she's not going to service him the way porn stars do. So there could be a lot of reasons, but it also could be that he's naturally wired that way. And guess what? There isn't a lot of solution.